I wasn't gonna film me unboxing it because I had a dentist appointment today, so this part of my lip is still kind of numb, and then my cheek, but I think it's good enough right now to film, and I'm gonna unbox the camera, so I wanted to show you guys. I'm filming on my phone right now. If you've been watching my vlogs for the past year, honestly, then you will know the issues that I was having with my other camera. I'll talk about it because I will compare that other one to this one, but right now I'm filming on the phone just because the other camera, it just screwed up. It won't unzoom. It's all stuck like and I'll talk about all the other issues of the camera as well. I had an Olympus pen, which I'll discuss, but I've had that one for 5 years, and this one, I took forever to decide on the camera. I used my money from TikTok, and I had that money for probably a month before I actually clicked order because I had to do all this research. I really wanted to make sure that I got the perfect camera. It had all the needs that or the, specifications that I need for my vlogging. But it was expensive, and I got it down to 3 different cameras that I was considering, and I did use ChatGPT to help me decide a little bit near the end because I did all this research by watching YouTube and then TikTok, and then I had to look it up. I had to research a little bit with the help of ChatGPT at the very end because honestly, I had a long list. Where's my paper? Sorry. I made this super long list and many papers, many lists of cameras, and I researched. Basically, I started with researching or watching YouTube videos, like looking up like best vlogging cameras, and I know based on my experience of vlogging with a real camera, like not my iPhone, for the past like 10 years almost. I think it's been almost 10 years when I started vlogging, and I've been using cameras the whole time. I've only had basically 3 that I used during that whole time. There was one at the very beginning, which was not good, not ideal for vlogging, but it was a camera that I had, so I used it. Then I got a Samsung camera, I think in 2016 as a graduation present or a birthday present. I think it was graduation though, because I wanted it for vlogging to like pick up my vlogging, like make it to level up, right? So I got a Samsung camera at that time, which was nearly perfect in every way, except for it just wasn't as high quality as you would want. So I used that for, I guess, 4 years, because then in 2020 was when I got my Olympus pen, which I'll show you. So that was the other upgrade because I don't remember though what happened to the Samsung. I still have it probably, but I don't use it. But anyway, so then I got the Olympus pen, but that one was a birthday or Christmas present, probably a birthday present. It was a birthday present in 2020 before the pandemic and everything happened in March, because my birthday's in February. I remember I got the camera and I remember testing it for the first time, and it was not perfect. But what happened with that one was I didn't do a lot of research. I just looked up. I keep having to start and stop. Anyway, so with the Olympus pen, I had just looked up best vlogging cameras in 2020 or 2019 or whatever, probably. And I just watched a few videos, and then I picked one from all the videos that seemed to have the features that I wanted and also looked kind of aesthetic. Let me just get it so I can show you guys. Okay, this is my Olympus pen. It's the EPL9. I don't know if you can see that. EPL9. And the lens is just the kit lens that it came with, and it's 14 to 42 millimeter. Anyway, and then I'm not good at, after all my research, I'm still not really, it says 1 and then 3.5 to 5.6. That's probably the aperture. Anyway, so yeah, after all my research, I still don't exactly know everything about cameras, but I've learned so much doing the intentional research this time around, because with this one, like I said, I just looked up vlogging cameras and I picked one. So since it was gonna be my money this time around, because the other cameras that I got were all gifts, right? And I really wanted a good camera, so I decided to go hard on the research, and then I held off on buying it for so long because I planned originally, right? So it was last year when I knew that I was gonna need to get a new camera, and I know this is like a long story, and Luckily, this is YouTube because people on TikTok are so rude and comment things like, you take so long, just open the dang box. And it's like, so crazy. Anyway, so last year I knew that I needed to get a new camera. That's why I was just apologizing for rambling. But anyway, the full story is worth it for me. I knew I needed to get a new camera, but I looked up the kinds of cameras that I wanted, and they were all in a price range of like $800 to $1,000 or more, right? So I decided to start saving for it because I knew it was going to take me forever because I didn't just have that money to spend. So I started a savings jar. I was saving cash for the past few months, right? But I was still nowhere near what I needed. But then TikTok, I just talked badly about the TikTok audience, but you know what? The good people are the good people, and they helped me get more followers and get some money from TikTok. So I do make money every month from TikTok. Nothing like life-changing, but nice money to get some things that I've needed, like tools and various things, like a camera. So anyway, so this was the biggest payout that I've ever gotten from TikTok, and it was like maybe a month or two ago at this point that I got it, like month and a half ago that the payout came through, and it was like $1,500 is what I got. And that's the biggest payout that I've ever gotten. You get them once a month from TikTok, and all the others have been less than that, like 800 or less. It was the biggest payout that I've ever gotten from TikTok, and it was because I had a video that got 1 million views. So, and I think I have 2 videos that have like 1 million plus views, but that month, like one of them did really well. And so, yeah, I got $1,500. I'm stumbling through this because my phone ran out of storage and I had to come back and anyway, which is why I need a camera. I don't ever have enough phone storage to film on my phone. The quality is actually not bad. Like I like how I look in this. So you could totally vlog on your phone these days if you want to make videos and vlog. A lot of my favorite YouTubers actually use their phone. It's no issue at all. But for me, I never have enough storage on my phone because I have so many photos, so it'd be impossible. So anyway, and I do like the quality of a camera, a real camera. So long story, always long because I don't know how to tell a short story. I did so much research this time around because I was going to spend that money. I decided when I got that money from TikTok, I said, I'm going to use that for my camera so I don't have to save up for it anymore because this one just has too many issues and I cannot use it now officially because my dad tried to help me. I said, the zoom keeps getting stuck, and it's not the lens itself, it's the camera, like the electronics or the technology, the computer parts of it, I think, are just stuck cropped and zoomed in. And probably it's cropped and not really a zoom. And he said, well, let me buy you a new battery because maybe that would help. And I've already purchased a new battery for this camera before. So I had 2 batteries, one that came with the camera and one that was newer. And he said, let me buy you another one. And I bet that would help. And at first it actually did. You know, I was like, I don't know if that would work. But then he got it and it came in and I tested it and it did help for a few weeks. And then the other week, like a few months ago, maybe a month or 2 ago, I don't know. Anyway, it got stuck again and I kept taking the battery in and out and I kept like switching the batteries and I was like, this is the new one, but it didn't work. Anyway, so it was still stuck zoomed in. I just turned it on so you could kind of see. Can you see how zoomed in that is here? Like even at arm's length, it's way too zoomed in or cropped or something. But from my research, I've also discovered, oops, I didn't mean to record a clip of this. I've also discovered that the camera already was a cropped camera. And I had no idea because I didn't know what that meant back when I decided to get this camera. But anyway, so I'll talk about that later if I get the chance though, because I need to open this other camera and people keep walking in and out. So I keep pausing and then starting the filming again. Anyway, so that camera, I was like, it's just done. I've had it for 5 years anyway. So let me just get a new one. I got the TikTok money and then I went down to researching. That sounds like I went down to a research center. Anyway, I started doing research. I watched YouTube videos and I made all my lists. I get these. I knew the features that I was looking for the camera, and then I made lists for every camera brand that are the most popular camera brands, I would say. I didn't do the extremely expensive brands like Leica, and there's another one, I don't remember, but I did Oh no, these are my requirements papers. Hold on. Gosh. Okay. I did Sony, which is like the most popular camera brand, probably first or second to Canon. I'm not sure which one's more popular, if it's Canon or Sony, but for video, it's usually Sony. But I prefer Canon's colors actually, which is the age-old story, I guess, apparently with camera people. Canon colors are really good. Sony colors are not as good, but Sony has better like filming features otherwise, I think. And they have the best autofocus, I've learned. Anyway, then I also looked up Panasonic cameras and I almost got a Panasonic. We'll talk about that if I get the chance. I also did a tiny bit of research into Fujifilm, but there weren't as many good Fujifilm options. They're better for photography, I think, and they're also more expensive. So yeah, and then there's a paper for Nikon, but there was like nothing for Nikon. Anyway, so I did all of that, watched YouTube, and then once I had my list pretty fleshed out and I was checking off which ones had all the features that I wanted and then were in my price range, right? So I was aiming for like $1,000 max. After that, when I had so many cameras on the list and I could not decide which one, I resorted to TikTok first. And I went on TikTok and I was just looking up, basically I would look up each camera that I was thinking of the most, I was most highly considering. Anyway, the ones that were my top picks, I was looking them up on TikTok because I thought that's a great place to go find fresh reviews from regular everyday people. Because YouTube, it's a lot of camera YouTubers, like people who talk about cameras all the time, and I learned a lot from them, but I wanted to hear from like regular people also, their experience using the cameras. So I found that on TikTok and that was really helpful. So that helped me narrow down my list a bit, and I took some mental notes of those things and had my top picks again. Then I said, let me go to ChatGPT, I guess, so which I hate, and I disagree with the whole notion of ChatGPT and AI, but it can be useful for things like this because Google, if you Google stuff, like it's just going to tell you, usually it has articles and stuff like top vlogging cameras, but it's always saying like the same 3 or 4 that I don't want. I did not want any of the generic ones that everybody gets, the Sony EV, whatever, the vlogging one, the like Sony vlogging camera specifically. I didn't want that one because there were things about it that I did not like. And I've had cameras for all these years. I didn't need an introduction vlogging camera. I wanted a legit camera. So I didn't get that. What is it called? Just so I can, Sony ZV-1. That's the one. That's like, it's an affordable beginner's vlogging camera, I would say. And I didn't want that one. I did not want the Canon G7X, and a lot of people don't love that one anyway. It's very popular, but it's not perfect. So I didn't want that. And then I didn't want the like little weird moving little tiny box camera. I don't remember what that's called, but that's very popular these days, but I didn't want that. I just wanted a legit camera. I know how to use cameras for vlogging. I wanted that. I wanted something high quality, a real upgrade. So, and I'm so sorry it's taking me forever to actually open the dang box, but this is important for me in the future to watch these videos back, so it's more about me, sorry. And I wanted to document my reasoning and my thought process. So in ChatGPT, I just put, after all of my research, which was important, so just to start out with ChatGPT, I don't think would be advisable if you're trying to learn something. I mean, maybe if you want, but to watch videos and really understand these concepts helped, because then I could know for sure what I was looking for, and I was able to go to ChatGPT and say, hey, what are your recommendations for cameras? I need a vlogging camera and I need it to have these features. And I listed what I wanted, and then it was able to give me a good list. Like, I don't know how many it gave me, like 4 to 8 cameras, I don't know. But anyway, and a lot of the cameras that were already a part of my research were on this ChatGPT list, so that helped. And then it gave me a few that I didn't know about. But anyway, it just kind of confirmed the research that I had already done, basically. And some of the things that I wanted was a flip screen, either for up or to the side. It's also called an articulating screen. I needed that because when you're vlogging and like with a selfie, you need that. With my Olympus, The problem that I knew right off the bat when I got this camera, and I can't believe I didn't catch this when I was looking for a camera at the time, why I didn't think about this, but it came in and the screen, you know, does that. I don't know if it does anything. It also flips up like this, but it does not flip to the side or anything. It flips down. Oops. So it flips down. And so I could see myself if I was holding the camera like that, but when it was on a tripod, like a tripod would block the screen. So in a lot of the times I film with a tripod when I'm talking to the camera. So right off the bat, that was not right with this camera, but I still used this for 5 years and it was totally fine. And it got the job done, and I probably could have been, but it was a gift. So I didn't want to say like, and at the time I just needed the camera, wanted the camera. So it worked for 5 years. This worked. There were only a few flaws that were just not ideal, but overall the quality was great. The audio quality was really good on this. I don't use microphones, so I'm hoping the quality will be good on my new camera. I'm assuming it will. I did the research, but the video quality was good. Internal stabilization was pretty good. Overall, it was a good camera for the 5 years that I used it. There were just some things that I didn't love, such as the flip down screen. And then the color tended to lean pretty yellow or orange in darker lighting. And I didn't love that, but I worked with it. It was fine. Photos weren't like incredible, but the photo quality was like decent, I would say, but it wasn't amazing. And I never used any of the fancy settings. I just would film video and take simple photos and edit the photos later. And the lens was okay. The issue with this camera also was that it was too narrow. It wasn't wide angle enough all the time. And it's funny that the lens is a 14 to 42 millimeters, because I would think that would mean it's wide angle enough, because 14 millimeter would usually be pretty wide angle. But what I've learned through all my research is that there are different kinds of sensors, different sizes of sensors in cameras. And the sensor is literally like a sensor inside the camera that captures the light from outside. So this is a mirrorless camera. All the cameras that I was looking at were mirrorless cameras. It's different from a DSLR and a traditional camera, like a film camera. The way that it would work is the light is reflected on a mirror inside of the camera, and then the mirror bounces light up to the film, basically, I think is how it would work. So the light bounces on the mirror and then hits the film inside the camera, which captures the light and becomes the image or the film that you turn into a printed image later. Anyway, so that's how a traditional camera works, I'm pretty sure. But you don't have to correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, unless you want to. But if I'm wrong and you know I'm wrong, then you don't need to correct me, you know I'm wrong, and I might be wrong. Anyway, and then in a DSLR, which is just, those are very expensive, like bigger cameras, and those came before the mirrorless camera. So DSLR is a digital camera, but phone ran out of storage again. Oh my God. Okay, so a DSLR has a mirror inside and the light reflects on the mirror inside the camera. That's why they're bigger, because there's a whole freaking mirror in there, and it reflects onto the digital sensor, like a computer sensor, future technology sensor inside the camera. That's a DSLR. Mirrorless cameras do not have a mirror inside. That's why they can be more compact. So then the light reflects onto a sensor, directly onto the sensor, which just turns it into the image that's made of code or whatever it is, how we can see all these things on our phones and our computers. I don't know. Anyway, that's where my knowledge ends. So anyway, mirrorless cameras are the ones that I look for vlogging. It's pretty much becoming the standard anyway with most camera people, video and photography. I think it's just because it's easier. They're smaller. They tend to be smaller. DSLRs are also very expensive. Anyway, so mirrorless. So that's what this is. There's a sensor inside these cameras, and the sensor can be different sizes. There is a full frame sensor, which is literally what it sounds like, full frame, the full sensor. There is what is it called? A APC sensor, APS-C. APS-C sensor is slightly smaller than a full frame, I believe. And then there's the even smaller sensor, which if I had the time, I would tell you guys what it is, but I don't have the time at the moment. But it's what's in this. And this one, so it's some kind of cropped sensor. Something fourths sensor. If I can find out, I'll put it on the screen potentially if I feel like it. So inside of this is a cropped sensor, and I didn't know that at the time because I didn't do the research. But since I've done the research and now I understand these things, I knew with my new camera I needed to get a full frame or APS-C. There's also a fourth type of sensor that I don't know off the top of my head, but there could be more for all I know. But anyway, the usual ones. So I knew that I wanted a full frame or an APS-C because it was comparable to the full frame, but not as big. But it would be fine if I needed to get that. Those are my two top choices. And I was like, I'm never getting a cropped sensor, at least for vlogging, ever again. Because what I also didn't like about this camera was that even without the zoom issue, I always felt like I couldn't fit enough in the frame. It always just felt too cropped, but I didn't know at the time that it was cropped. I thought it was the lens, but I didn't look into it at the time. So I don't think it was the lens's fault. I do think it was the camera itself. Anyway, and this lens is designed for a cropped sensor anyway, because they came together and I found that. Anyway, I need to open this box. Okay, let me just tell you the requirements that I was looking for. Like my list of what I wanted, the features for the camera to have, and then I need to open this. Okay, so I told you about the flip screen. I wanted it to either flip up or to the side. The first vlogging camera I ever had, the screen flipped to the top. It was perfect. Most cameras, they flip to the side. I told you this one flipped down, which was not right. So I knew I needed a better flip screen. I needed internal stabilization, usually called IBIS, IBIS. So it's just that they're inside the camera, the sensor or whatever's in there, the mechanisms move with the motion of the camera in your hand so that you can film without it like dolly, right? I think that's what it is. Because like movies, usually when it's stable, it's because it's like rolling on something or carried by something or like something that mimics stabilization. So these types of cameras for vlogging, you want internal stabilization as best as you can get so that the camera's not shaking everywhere as you're like walking around. Anyway, so I needed IBIS. At first I wrote down that I wanted a wide lens before I understood the sensor sizes. So now I know I want full frame sensor and also wider angle lenses if possible, because it's just more ideal for vlogging so you can see more of the background. The iPhone actually has pretty decent wide angle. Like you can fit a lot in the frame. Look at how much of this is in frame. It's kind of crazy actually for a little tiny phone, tiny camera. Anyway, so there was that. I wanted good color and image quality. That's kind of obvious, but to me, for image quality, but for me also color is very important. I want decent color. The iPhone doesn't have the best color. As you can see, it's kind of like a brown washed, but it's pretty good. The contrast, I would say, is pretty good on an iPhone. On my Olympus camera, the colors were good pretty much all the time except for in dark lighting. And more yellow lighting, like if you're in a dark room with yellow lighting from lamps, it was not good because everything kind of went very orange. But otherwise, like in natural lighting, which is what I always prefer to film in natural lighting, I don't use artificial light for my videos unless I have no choice. Artificial light always looked so good on my Olympus, so I'm hoping my new camera does well with that. I'm sure it will, but color is just, it's really important to me. But some things have to be sacrificed a little bit when you're looking for the perfect camera. Like none of the cameras were the absolute perfect camera for me based on all my research. That was like my dream camera that was also in my price range. So I had to make some sacrifices, but in the end, it's gonna be good. There are some things that are more important than others. Interchangeable lenses was important to me so that I can take the lens off. I'll show you on this. Like on a camera, you can literally take, I haven't taken this lens off this camera like ever, but you can take the lens completely off and you can put new ones, but lenses are very expensive. So that's just if I'm going to buy more lenses in the future. And the camera that I bought and all the cameras that I have are investments. I plan to have them for years down the line. So the new one that I bought, I should have for the next 3 to 5 years or more, depending on how long it lasts. This one lasted me 5 years. The one I had before was 4 years, I think. Anyway. Guys, I had to come outside because my dad's in there and I don't like filming in front of people, so I came literally outside. But I need to open the staying box. So enough said. The last thing was good audio inside of the camera. That's what I wanted because I don't like to attach a microphone to the camera. I'm just like a lazy vlogger, but I do like a good quality camera, but I'm just lazy about all the extra accessories. So good audio. I think this one will have it. So let me open this thing because I've been battling two things. The phone keeps running out of storage. I'm sorry for this long video, but I wanted to do one dedicated video to unboxing this new camera because it is a big deal. This is probably the most expensive thing I've ever bought with my own money. Thank God for TikTok, honestly, because otherwise it would have taken me another year or more probably to save up the money. The camera ended up being more expensive than the goal, just with taxes and extra things. So it did end up being like, it was like 1,500 something just for the cost. And I wanted the lens to be included. So I got the kit lens. I would talk about that and explain why, because people recommend to just get the body of the camera, not the kit lens. But I wanted the whole thing and I don't have enough time to explain it to you, the reasons why. But because it was not just the body, because I also got the lens with it, it cost like 1,500 something, and then plus tax was even more. So do you see what I'm saying? It was way more than I was planning or expecting, but in the end I think it's an investment because it should last me, gosh, all that sound. I hope you can hear me on this one. It should last me, like I said, like 5 years is what I'm hoping, or more. Okay, so I ended up going with the Sony. Sorry, I hope the anticipation was nice for people because honestly it probably dragged, like the fact that it took me so long to get to the reveal of what I got. I got the Sony A7C and I got it with the kit lens of the 28 to 60 millimeter. Oh, an f-stop is what it is, not aperture on the lenses. I guess it's f-stop 4 to 5.6. Okay, the reason why I got the kit lens, let me just explain it now, is because it's the most compact lens that I could find for this camera at the moment that was like not going to be a crazy extra charge to buy separately. Lenses are so expensive. And I want a compact enough lens because, and I want it to be wide angle enough though. But the wide angle lenses that you buy separately unless you can get different brands that, as long as the, whatever it's called, I don't remember what it's called, like the way that it locks onto the camera, different cameras in brands might use different lenses, but sometimes you can interchange them. But they tend to be pretty large and I need to be able to carry this camera around pretty easily and out and about in regular life, and then also on travel. So when I'm traveling, I don't want a ginormous lens. So I just decided to settle for this one, but it was the most wide angle that I could find. But 28 is not ideal, like for what I'd want like a 16 to 18 millimeter, like lowest. But anyway, this is fine. I was deciding between the A7C and the A7C II, which is the newer version. The dream one is the A7C II, but it was like almost $3,000 to buy that. So I was like, let me just not do that, okay? Don't do it. The differences are not enough to make it worth it for me as like a lazy vlogger. And then I almost got the Panasonic Lumix S5 II. The reason I didn't get that is because there was some chatter online of issues with the audio, and then, which was not great. You need to have good audio. If you don't have good image, at least have good audio. So that wouldn't have been fun. And then I think also the autofocus was a reason for the Panasonic, although the images are amazing. So if I don't love the colors on this, I'm not gonna lie, I can always return it. I might consider the Panasonic, but you know, the color and image quality on the Panasonics are so good, but their autofocus is not as good as Sony. And I didn't want a Sony because I don't like how blue tinted their images look, because their color science is not as great. But I settled for it because in the end, autofocus is important, because I want video to look as natural as possible, and like your eye focuses on things automatically. That's why autofocus is important in a camera, because if it glitches too much, then it takes you out of the experience of watching it, because you feel like it's not focusing like a regular eye would. So anyway, but eventually Panasonic, I think they're getting better at their autofocus. It was almost, on the review videos that I watched, it was almost perfect on the Lumix S5 II, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So I decided not to get that one, but I could go back to it. I could change my mind if this one is not the dream. But I felt like, I mean, there's a reason that Sony is the most popular, so I thought I'd give it a try. And then I also almost got the Panasonic Lumix S9 because it's a very small, much smaller, compact, very minimal camera, and it's designed for content creators. That's a similar cost though to, I found the Lumix S5 Two, this is all for camera nerds who know what I'm talking about. Other people would not care. I hope the wind doesn't bother you either. Oh, there's a person. The S5 II was actually on sale. It's usually way more expensive, but I didn't get that, and I didn't get the S9 just because I didn't think it had enough features. So I did get this one in the end, but I could always change my mind. But anyway, let me open this. So it's all in there. It came with like everything, strap as well, but I'd probably buy a separate strap. Came with a battery, and I probably have to charge the battery, so I probably can't film anything yet, but I can add it on to the video later. Let's see. It's actually, yeah, it's really lightweight. People were saying it was lightweight because I thought it looks heavier than it is. I need to show you I need to show you another time probably, but I'll film a shot inside, I think, because the lighting is kind of too much out here. Okay, and then, yeah, that's like way lighter than I expected actually. That's kind of crazy. Okay, and then lens. Lens is super, okay, it's really light, so that's actually really good for traveling. Okay. Okay. Clicked. Like, see how it's actually relatively compact, but still looks like a substantial camera, so it doesn't look like a tiny little thing. Okay, I love the design of it. It's way lighter than my other one. Way lighter than the Olympus actually, which is kind of crazy. I thought it would be a similar weight. Okay, I need to charge the battery and then I can test it because that's pretty crazy. And screen flips out to the side. Okay. Ooh. And it has an EVF, which I decided I did want that on a camera, but it wasn't like the end all be all, because the EVF is this part, which photographers really like, but I'm using it for video. So, because you can see the screen here, but this, it's a whole other thing. But I have never used an EVF like that. I've used film cameras before, so I know kind of how that works, but it's different. I don't really know what the difference is between the EVF and the screen, but I know really camera people prefer it. Anyway, okay. I'm just giving you close-ups, but I don't really know what else to say now. Okay, I gotta take it in, I gotta charge the battery, and then I guess we'll test it in a little bit. But can you see inside? That's pretty crazy. Okay, let me do that. This is pretty wild. I need to test it to see if I want to keep it or if I want, like, I could still get the Panasonic, but I don't know. Okay, let me go charge the battery. Let me just do that. So I didn't get the chance to test the camera yesterday because I didn't realize that they didn't include the charger for the battery inside the kit. So it came with the battery, but it didn't come with the actual thing to charge the battery. So I had to order it from Amazon yesterday. It was insanely expensive. I don't know why it's not included. That's crazy to me. Anyway, I had to order it from Amazon overnight. Like, it came today, luckily. So just 1 day shipping. And I charged the camera or the battery up to like halfway, and we're gonna test it. So this is the moment, all right? Okay, I'm trying to go fast. So this is gonna be the moment. Oh, how's this going? Okay, think like this. Battery is in. Then I need an SD card. All right, so on the side. I need to see how it looks. Okay, so the switch, you don't need to know that. Anyway. Okay. I have to go through the settings. Hold on. Okay, it's on. This is crazy. I'm just gonna take a picture of my computer on the desk. It has a physical shutter, I believe, so the sound is real. I'll take a picture of you guys. I have to focus it though. Okay, whale. Okay, I'm gonna have to play around with this, but we need to test the video, of course. I think I'm gonna set this on a tripod and turn on the video, and then you'll be watching from the camera. I don't know. This is probably going to take some practice. It's not even on auto, right? Okay, let me set it to auto. All right. Okay, so now it's on auto. Okay, let me put it on a tripod. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so I just tested it, like filming, right? And I wasn't talking. Now I'm testing the audio, so I will be able to hear it when I'm editing. I'll hear this audio. I can play it out loud from the camera, but I really want to know what it sounds like when I'm editing a video with earphones. But okay, the image looks fantastic. I watched it back, okay? And I can see in the viewfinder. I think this is not, I was hoping that when you did a video, it'd be the full screen because this is a full frame sensor, like I was saying, but I think that's what the difference is between this and Open Gate, which I did want Open Gate, but I knew this camera didn't have it. But I almost went for the Panasonic for that reason as well. Remember I talked about the Panasonic? Anyway, this was yesterday when I was filming that, all those other clips. So I'm not on my game at the moment, but the Panasonic, both the ones that I was considering, those have Open Gate, but this one does not. And Open Gate, I think, is just so that you can look it up. I don't want to waste your time. This is too long anyway. But this is not Open Gate, so it makes sense. But the video, it's like regular format, it looks like, for the actual video. But with photos, it's got a bigger sensor. Anyway, it doesn't really make a ton of difference. Like when you're looking at the video or a photo, you wouldn't know. But it's just the sensor size, I don't know, which is in the camera. Anyway, regardless, it looks really great. The color does look pretty good to me. I don't think, and I'll watch it back later on the computer as well, but I think the color looks fine. It does not look too gray and washed out, which was what I thought that Sony's, a lot of them tend to look like that, but I have to test it in different lighting. It's in different times of day. Right now it is 7:30 p.m. and this is March, by the way. I don't know when you're watching this, but it's March 26th when I'm filming this. So who knows what it would look like in, a more washed out lighting. Anyway, right now it looks decent though. I mean, I'm already pale and it doesn't I don't look insanely pale in the image. At least on the screen of the camera, I look like a healthy color, I would say, not super duper pale and washed out. But anyway, this video has been so long, I'm going to end it here. I'm sure the audio is fine. Now, if it's not, then who knows what will happen if this is the end of the video, or if but I think it's fine. I think this camera seems to be fine. I'm gonna try to actually read the manual. I don't like reading manuals, but I'll try to read it for this one. And I guess I just need to practice and fool around with it and look in the settings. I was looking through the settings just now, just out of curiosity, but I want to learn what each setting is basically, or what it means, so I can get the best out of this camera or get the most out of this camera. I need to go get some coffee right now. I don't know what I'm saying, so don't mind me. But anyway, I should end the video now. It'll take me, like, I have to film with this camera for a while before I really know my thoughts on it. But so far, I mean, it seems to be perfectly fine. It's very clear. The image is very clear. And I thought my other camera was clear. This is like crazy clear. Yeah. And the autofocus is really good. Like, I stepped back, you saw in the clip, and it's awesome because, and the autofocus knows that it's supposed to focus on me. So I walked back, like you can see it's very blurry back there right now, but if I were to walk back, I'll show you. Then the rest of the room comes into focus as well. So it tracks me super well, and then if I come in, like, it knows, because I think there's the AI in this, or I don't know, or if that was the Mark II, I don't know. Anyway, let me end the video. So this is the first clip you guys are watching with the new camera. That's crazy. Yeah, it'll take some getting used to, but that's the new camera reveal. I think it's fine. I don't know. I'm like, it's gonna be interesting to get used to, but yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this camera unless something goes wrong. But you know, for right now, I mean, I think it seems perfect. I don't know. We'll test in the next vlog. This will be interesting. Okay, anyway. Okay, I will see you guys. I will see you in that next vlog or whatever. I'll see you in the next video.